On a cold autumn evening in a quiet town in Vermont, the wind moved softly through the orange and red leaves that lined Maple Street. At the end of the road stood a small white house with a porch swing that creaked in the breeze. Every evening at exactly 5:30 p.m., an old man named Mr. Walter sat on that porch with a cup of black coffee, watching the road. Every single day, rain, snow, sunshine, for 12 years. The people in town noticed, but no one asked why, until one day, a curious 10-year-old girl named Sophie walked up the steps. "Mr. Walter," she said, tilting her head, "why do you always sit here and stare at the street?" The old man smiled, his weathered face softening. "I'm waiting for someone." Sophie's eyes widened. "Who?" Walter looked down the long, empty road. "My son." The words hung in the cool air. Sophie sat beside him on the porch swing. "Where is he?" Walter took a deep breath. 12 years ago, he left this town after an argument with me. He was young, angry, and full of dreams bigger than this little place. He paused. "The last thing I said to him was, if you walk out that door, don't come back." Walter's voice cracked. "He left that night." Sophie frowned. "And he never came back?" Walter shook his head slowly. "Not once." The little girl looked at him quietly. "Then why do you still wait?" Walter reached into his coat pocket and pulled out a worn, folded letter. "Because this arrived yesterday." Sophie gasped. The envelope was old and slightly torn, with a stamp from Chicago. Walter carefully opened it. Inside was a single handwritten note. "Dad, I know it's been a long time. Too long. I'm coming home tomorrow at 5:30, if you'll still have me. Michael." Sophie smiled so wide her cheeks hurt. "He's coming back." Walter nodded, but his eyes were filled with nervousness. "I hope so." The next day, word spread through the entire town. By afternoon, people quietly watched from their windows and front porches. Everyone knew Walter. Everyone knew his pain. At exactly 5:25 p.m., Walter sat on the porch, dressed in his best brown coat, his hands trembling around his coffee cup. Sophie sat beside him. Minutes passed. 5:30. No car, no footsteps. 5:35. Still nothing. Walter's shoulders sank. Sophie looked at him sadly. "Maybe he's late." Walter forced a smile, but his eyes said otherwise. Then, a car turned onto Maple Street. An old blue pickup truck rolled slowly toward the house. Walter stood up so quickly, his coffee spilled onto the porch. The truck stopped. The driver's door opened. A tall man in his 30s stepped out. He had Walter's eyes. Walter froze. "Michael?" The man nodded, tears already forming. "Hi, Dad." For a moment, neither moved. 12 years of silence stood between them. Then Michael took a step forward. "I'm sorry." Walter's lip trembled. "No," he whispered. "I'm sorry." And just like that, the years broke apart. Walter rushed down the steps and pulled his son into the tightest embrace. The whole street seemed to hold its breath.